Great pleasure to be here to congratulate you and your families. You have worked very hard, and I'm sure there were many, many times that you did not think you were going to graduate. So first and foremost, give yourself a big pat on your shoulder. I have been in the workforce for 38 years. And have had jobs in all three sectors, in the private sector, in government, and in the community sector. I've worked as a union organizer, as you heard, in a factory, in retail, at minimum wage jobs, in government, and for most of my working life, for 27 of these years, I've worked in what we call the community sector, or the third sector. For sure, when I graduated Trent University in 1974, I could never have predicted any of these jobs. And I think that's probably my first message to you today. There's absolutely no way that you sitting here today have any idea what all the different jobs and locations and even countries you may live in. You will see a variety of options, and each option will lead to another option. And for sure, I never would have imagined that I would stay at FoodShare so long. It's been now 23 years, when every other job I ever had was less than 3 years. The future is quite complicated and beyond the control of an individual. An approach that has worked for me is to imagine, to treat my life as a journey to be explored rather than a rigid path to follow, since so much of what has happened to me and will happen to each of you cannot be predicted. At the same time, we each make choices about how we will live. You made a very big choice to be in a caring profession when you chose to enroll in one of Ryerson's 9 community services programs. And I understand that today we have graduates from 5 of those programs: child and youth care, disability studies, early childhood studies, midwifery, and nutrition, the others having graduated this morning. All of you are therefore connected to the helping professions and have decided to dedicate your lives to helping communities and people and cities be better places. You deserve another big pat on the back for that. Congratulations for that choice. I have to tell you, there is absolutely no work more noble than the work of a helping professional, and you should be very proud of yourself. Your decision to enroll in a program that taught you how to help others is a wide choice on many levels. Jobs in the helping profession and social justice movement are some of the most satisfying jobs in the world. Knowing that your work can help improve the health and well-being of individuals, communities, and cities often means that going into work each day can have a great deal of meaning. And in these relatively more complicated job market times, having graduated from Ryerson with a degree in one of the helping professions will potentially make you more employable than others of your generation. We have a lot of problems in the world, and all of the professions that you've just graduated in are solution-based to many of those big, big issues. The decisions you have already made in your life will have put you well on the road to meaningful, emotionally satisfying, and socially valuable work. You might remember Robert Frost, a poet. Some of you might have studied this poem, The Road's Not Taken. For some strange reason, it stuck in my mind with all those other weird poems that you memorized in high school, so I'm just going to share that with you now. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden back. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Robert Frost wrote that in 1916, and so a lot of commentators think he is maybe sad that he took the less traveled one. For me, the idea of taking the less traveled one describes the life Of the many that I know who have worked in social work and social justice and the caring professions, and the kind of lives that we have been able to piece together at the both personal and career level that have made advancing an agenda of change through work in the nonprofit sector engaged in social innovation and social enterprise. When I came to FoodShare in 1992, it had a budget of $750,000 a year, and this year it has a budget of over $6 million. It had 6 or 7 staff then, it has over 60 now. FoodShare has invented programs like Field to Table, words that actually have become part of our vernacular, or the Good Food Box and Student Nutrition, to address social problems, and we have had to innovate and be entrepreneurial every step of the way. Mary Lou Morgan, one of the founders of the Big Carrot on the Danforth, and Ursula Lipsky, who was a nutritionist, invented the idea of the Good Food Box, the idea that farmers and urban city dwellers could create a program between them, enhancing both their interests. And now this idea of a set box of fresh produce weekly, it really exists everywhere in the private sector. All the home delivery companies of organic and even Gateway.com are all modeled after this innovation. Your generation is faced with a myriad of social problems that need solving, from global warming to creating stable programs for children who've grown up in homes where there's been abuse. The creativity of people to create solutions that cannot be underestimated. And in a way, what I'm saying now is what you've now heard from every speaker before me. In the last 2 decades, we've lived through a digital revolution that could barely be imagined 30 years ago. So much of this was about people exactly like the people that you are, the people in this room and in this university, taking bold steps, putting in extra efforts, stretching your own imaginations, finding like-minded partners and friends, and inventing so much. I mean, really, computers, Twitter, so many things. My mother, who was born in 1913, could never have imagined so much of what was created, and she used to talk to me about what it meant that she lived in a time before anybody had ever gone into outer space. And till she died about 7 years ago, she would always say to me again, explain to me again how that email works. Tell me again how it works, because it was not something that she could have ever imagined as a child. You and your friends and colleagues will invent so many solutions that you cannot even think of today. I'm here today because of FoodShare's long-standing relationship that you heard about from Cecilia with Ryerson Center for Studies in Food Security, and a wonderful partnership between FoodShare and Jennifer Welsh, a former Dean and Director of Nutrition at Ryerson, Fiona Udall, who is here today, Department of Nutrition, and current Chair of the Center for Studies in Food Security, Mustafa Koch, the Department of Sociology, is not with us, and Cecilia Roja, the current Director of Nutrition. Together, FoodShare and Ryerson are working to improve the food system for individuals, communities, and society at large. We worked together most recently on the Urban Ag Summit in 2012 that was hosted here on the campus, and it has been so great to see so much activism on the Ryerson campus when it comes to food. Congratulations to all of you who are making it happen, and really a special thanks to President Sheldon Levy and his city building vision, because he has said yes to things that many people in his position are saying no to at other campuses and other institutions. It's very exciting to hear about the great developments on campus. Many of you might be familiar with Rise Homegrown Garden and Josh Namarash's work just most recently on trying to transform FoodShare's food services. It continues to be an honor and a privilege to collaborate for social change with these brilliant Ryerson teachers, and we really look forward. I've already had some great conversations just in the last couple hours about doing more partnerships between FoodShare and Ryerson. So much of what we've done in the city comes from the leadership of some of your very visionary people, the Toronto Food Policy Council and Jennifer Welsh, Mustafa, and you heard before about Food Secure Canada. Cecilia is a global expert in food programs in Brazil and market failure, and has just been honored to be selected by the outgoing UN Chief Rapporteur Olivier de Schutter. And Fiona has put FoodShare's history on the map. You can go and look at it now on our website. Food is one of those issues that seems so complicated and yet has so many simple solutions. A very, very bad and big number, 1 billion. 1 billion people will go to sleep hungry tonight. And another 1 billion will go to sleep malnourished from overnourishment of the wrong kind of food. And unfortunately, farmers all over the world are going broke and are unsustainable environmentally and financially. And yet we live in a world in which there's more than enough food to feed everyone. Here at Ryerson, where you have been such a leader on so many issues related to public policy and public systems. We can imagine a public food system, public education, public transit, public libraries. Why not a public food system? Imagine for a second if 5 items that we grow a lot of in Ontario, apples, carrots, cheese, soy nuts, and potatoes, were all available at 20 cents a kilo in any grocery store, in any corner store in Ontario. And you as a consumer paid 20 cents, the farmer got the full price, and the difference was made up by a subsidy from government to pay for the health care costs. There are many other examples of the way this could be done. It's been done in Carroll Estate. It's been done in Brazil through Sacalo markets. The food movement, like the women's movement, lays out the hope of radical change through the personal is the political. Think about the changes in women's rights in the last 100 years. Again, so amazing to be on a stage with so many academic partners who are women, to see a graduating class in which there are so many women. This would not have been the case 100 years ago. So imagine with me what could happen in 100 years if we tried to change the food system in the way that we have changed the role of women in society. So when you choose to get involved in Rye's own garden and eat the healthier food choices that are available now at Ryerson, that Ryerson will be serving, you make a commitment to this change and model in your own lives. We face so many challenges and yet so many opportunities. One of my favorite books is a new one called The Empathetic Civilization by a guy named Jeremy Rifkin. He's a futurist. And Jeremy Rifkin says that every mode of production has a mode of communication. And the Gutenberg press was the mode of communication for capitalism. And Web 2.0 is the mode of communication of a new sharing and caring mode of production in society that your generation could build. You have the ability to create this new world. Many think we are poised around the world to discover a new form of connectedness represented by this web of communication and a new form of understanding of what it means to build a global society. Another recent example of this you can see if you look at the website Cosmopolitis. A local person, Colin Boyd Schaefer, in his travels around the world, noticed that every time he came back to Toronto, there were more people here in Toronto from all countries in the world than anywhere else in the world. And Colin is going about taking a picture of a person in Toronto from every country in the world, and he's taken a picture of 190 people from the registered 190 countries of the world, as well as a First Nations person. It's a wonderful series if you want to look at it. So as you move forward in your lives, know that small changes in your personal life, like choosing to eat 10 servings of vegetables and fruit a day, can create a dynamic in which the personal is political, and we can together create an empathetic, culturally diverse, and just world. Innovate, try new things, and travel untraveled roads. Work to heal the world of some of its big problems by working in the caring professions. Innovate and create new solutions, and know that your life will wind through many paths, so that you need to be calm, hopeful, and realistic all at the same time. And today, celebrate yourself and your accomplishments. Congratulations.